MVIL pays 35.4 million kina in dividends. NID card process to be audited. And citywide water shutdown explained.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Friday's news. Motor Vehicles Insurance Limited paid their dividends to shareholder Kumul Consolidated Holdings today. The cheque payment of 35.4 million kina was handed over by the chairman of the state-owned enterprise to the chairman of KCH and witnessed by Minister for Public Enterprise and State Investment, William Duma.
State-owned enterprise Motor Vehicles Insurance Limited, or MVIL, today paid a significant amount of dividends back to shareholder Kumul Consolidated Holdings. A cheque of 35.4 million kina was presented to the chairman of KCH, Paul Nerau, in the presence of Minister for Public Investment and State-owned Enterprise, William Duma.
One of our state-owned companies has been able to work very hard and earn the revenue and of course pay a significant amount of money as dividend, 35.4 million kina to Kumul Consolidated Holdings.
The Asian Development Bank recently released a report on state-owned enterprises in the region and the significant drain they cause to the Pacific Island economies, stating that they are simply more money than they are worth. Therefore, with SOEs like MVIL paying back dividends to the government in this current state of the economy is a major vote of confidence. Minister Duma commended the SOE board and management team for their prudent leadership and management during the country's current economic strain.
We in PNG are all aware of the economic climate this country is going through, and a lot of businesses are struggling. Government is struggling, but the government still continues to pay its debts, pay the wages of its employees. But there are others who are struggling out there. And for one of our government-owned companies, Motor Vehicle Insurance Limited, to be able to work very hard and to contribute by paying a dividend augurs well for the board as well as the management of the company. And on behalf of our Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, and his government, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank and commend the board as well as the management of MVIL for making a very significant contribution.
Leanne Jarari, National MTV News.
Port Moresby City residents woke up to no water this morning. Edarano management has advised that the urgent citywide water shutdown in the nation's capital today is no cause for alarm. Edarano Commercial Services General Manager Paul Gore told media this morning the water shutdown was a necessary measure after heavy rains yesterday caused a buildup of mud at the water treatment plant.
Advising on Port Moresby's urgent water shutdown, Paul Gore, Edarano Commercial Services General Manager, confirmed the avoidable situation is minor and Edarano hopes to restore normalcy before the end of the day.
This is resulting from a heavy rain, experienced yesterday. And there's been a high flow of mud and debris in the system. And in fact, I think our sister SOE PPL may have released the turbidity into the system. So without us being aware, it came through our system, through our production plant. So if we allow that to continue, it's gonna have a serious impact on our production plant.
Mr. Gore further explained that after sudden heavy rains up in the Sogeri Plateau yesterday, the Edarano production team had noticed unfiltered residue of turbidity or mud at the treatment plant at 3 a.m. today, prompting the shutdown as early as 5 a.m. Edarano has 7 reservoirs within the city limits. However, Mr. Gore said these are reserved for emergency purposes, such as a fire, further adding that they are not sufficient to sustain the city's water demand during the shutdown. Water supply was shut down to all parts of the city except for the Port Moresby General Hospital, where operations need not be interrupted. Edarano apologized to the general public for inconveniences caused and appealed for cooperation and understanding, as this is a necessary measure taken to safeguard the treatment plant. Lorraine Gabina, National MTV News.
Reports are slowly coming from 7 districts in Morobe province that have been affected by heavy rain and flooding 2 weeks ago. Isolated communities with no cell phone coverage have been among the most affected. The provincial government says the repair cost for the damaged infrastructure could go beyond 9 million kina.
A bridge at the headwaters of the Busu River, the only link to the Nawai district, is one of several important links in the Morobe province destroyed by flooding 2 weeks ago. Vehicles travelling to the Nawai district can't travel over the bridge. The works engineers say the bridge is still unstable.
Makeshift apartment and boulder all been resting bridge and that long. So over time we've been got the slow scouring now and we've been tilted inwards.
The provincial government has spent close to 2 million kina to buy additional parts from Medang to repair the bridge.
Only work non-stop for the last 2 weeks. We have had a tremendous amount of support from all our engineers, all our works people, all our contractors to get this bridge up to where it is now.
At 11 Mile, another temporary bridge was built after the road section was cut off by 2 nights of heavy rain on the 13th and the 14th. The National Works Department is still working on the costs related to the bridge replacements and the emergency repairs. In Finchafen, 14 houses as well as several bridges have been washed away. These pictures, supplied by an elementary school teacher, shows the ongoing flooding in the area.
Now need blomi plastret shelter or some canvas masigo tools because me play a sack but me play no na busim desla. Continuous heavy rain na no got time lo by katimo desla na wokim. Canvas masigo at least some tools na food stuff.
Several families have been displaced by flooding. Tomorrow, the Provincial Disaster Office will send relief supplies to the areas affected. Yesterday, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and disaster officers travelled to Lababia Island off the Morobe coast. More than 20 houses were swept away on the night of the 14th. A landslide caused the river to break its banks and flood the village. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Leh.
NID Registrar General Dixon Kiragi said the process to issue national identity cards and birth registration will be audited starting Monday next week. This follows complaints raised by frustrated members of the public this morning on the delay to the issuing of their cards at the Boroko office.
The group of frustrated individuals fronted up at the MTV office this morning. For some of them, it has been weeks stretching into months of follow-ups for their NID cards.
8 o'clock straight, me bla stop, you go 11 o'clock. Me bla sana stop na, sambla ol wagim ari, okada santin blow or straight mol na, or karing pa motion na give mol na. Hasta me bla koros lo dislam.
Na mi bla kam me molto power blackout na mi bla stop outside them planting man straight. Whole Papua New Guinea come. Astena mi bla kisim ol kam ol no toki mi bla lo good bla you bla go back no gat mi bla stop and mi bla spend him how much hours.
Why no something is inside so Lord should give him mi bla. No work lo talk no gat go this la day you come go this la day you come.
Press blomi and stop lo runway 5 kilometer. Misa walk about you go down Igoro highway. Misa kisim PMB long 4 o'clock and 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Misa come down. So 6 kina bus pay. Misa come down low. Second NID card. That's so orain or sa to korsen. You play go back, right and break out. Tisra emilo go play too much lo. All the people from me play orgeda.
So people be looking me or some planning we do come. It takes about a month or two. They go home with worry because they want to get something from the bank, but it's hard.
As they are unemployed, they are desperate to get their cards as it is now demanded by banks and other service providers. Following MTV's query, NID Registrar General Dixon Kiragi confirms that the Boroko office has been facing power supply issues, which he has just been made aware of.
If anyone's got any queries, definitely Monday I will have a team. I will be personally there. Please come along and talk to us and see how best we can help you.
The immediate steps also includes an audit into the processing of NID cards and birth certificates. The power supply issues, which has been brought to the attention of the landlord of the Boroko office, the office will be partially opened on Monday.
So any new lodgements to be diverted to our Konedob office, central office. So any new lodgements to be lodged at Kone office. Card issuance will be still open for those that come in to collect cards or their birth certificates. Any queries, our counter queries will be still there. A few officers will be relocated to our NID house.
Another immediate step which will see the Registrar General himself, along with his senior employees at the counter at the Boroko office to attend to queries. He further elaborates that all NID and birth certificate registration are free.
No fees should be paid to any agent, nor even any of my staff to collect fees from them. There is anybody, any of my staff collecting fees, or any agent collecting fees, registration fees, please report that matter to us immediately or report it to the nearest police station, because that would be deemed illegal.
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has asked the country to pray for Governor General Grand Chief Sir Michael Ogio, who is in critical condition in Brisbane after having been moved there for specialist attention. The Prime Minister asked people around the country and the Pacific to offer their prayers for the Governor General. He said the Governor General was a truly outstanding leader in the country and he hoped to hear positive news about his condition from his family. You're watching National MTV News. Among stories after the break, Southern Highlands Governor William POWI and TIPNG condemn the attack on electoral officials. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. A policeman based in Daru, Western Province, has suffered injuries to his head after the vehicle he was driving crashed into a semi-trailer. The incident occurred between 10:15 and 10:30 this morning at Port Moresby's Purana Freeway, opposite the office of the National Broadcasting Corporation. It is understood the policeman was intoxicated when he ran into the semi-trailer. Boroko police arrived at the scene soon after and took the victim in for questioning. The vehicle was later towed to the Boroko Traffic Office by Traffic Police. Southern Highlands Governor William POWI has condemned the attack on electoral officers outside Mount Hagen on Wednesday. POWI said the attacks are linked to the former election manager of Southern Highlands and has called for investigations into the matter. He said Southern Highlands Province doesn't need people who act on their own interests outside the common good of the province.
Governor POWI says the attack on electoral officers who were travelling to Mendi for a handover-takeover ceremony is uncalled for. POWI says the attack doesn't reflect the province, but that of an individual acting in his own interests.
Here is a case where election officials who have been told to transfer to Enga are locking the office, preventing the handover-takeover in Mendi. So it's an internal matter for the Electoral Commission to deal with.
He says proper investigations will be carried out to remove electoral officers who are colluding with intending candidates and politicians.
But it's very surprising that the former official are colluding with candidates and public in obstructing this process to take place. So I'm appealing to the police to investigate this and deal with the culprits who are doing roadblocks and other illegal things to prevent the Electoral Commission from carrying out its function. This is very important.
The governor also called on the people of Southern Highlands to have confidence in the electoral process.
So let's get our thinking correct, get this psyche mentality that something is going to happen because the people are, all thinking along that line. I think that thinking is not good. We should allow the system to prevail. We should have confidence in the system.
Similar sentiments were shared by Electoral Commissioner Gamato.
I'm mindful that my officers or the officers of the Electoral Commission are out now conducting roll updating. And so for public to attack them, for public to abuse the process, is unacceptable.
Stanley Over Jr., National MTV News.
Meanwhile, Transparency International (PNG) have also condemned the attack, saying the actions of the attackers reflect a deeper issue. In a statement received this afternoon, they say leaders misbehaving and are not accountable to law is encouraging people to believe that their actions are justified where they use brutal force to achieve their goals. They are calling on the general public to refrain from such actions. Lawyer for the refugees on Manus, Ben Lomai, says the restrictions in accessing refugees at the detention center contributed to the dismissal of the summary judgment application they filed with the Supreme Court. Speaking to the media after the decision, Lomai said the limited access to the refugees made representing them very difficult.
Lomai said what was demanded of them was not practical at the time, and he is disappointed that they were penalized for something they couldn't help.
Nobody can even access the center, including the lawyers, the journalists, the lawyers, and even some other international organization. So that's the reason why when we got instruction, it was done covertly. And so I put it in my affidavit so that the judges will appreciate how I got the instruction.
The dismissal of the summary judgment application yesterday was based on technicalities questioning the competency of the application. The refugees' efforts for the courts to recognize human rights violation against them began last year. Since then, it has been an emotional roller coaster as they await their claims for justice.
The detainees have lost all heart, really, and all hope associated with what the law and justice, getting justice according to the law. In April this year, when the Supreme Court first found that Manus Island should be closed, there was a real hope associated with the people on Manus Island. We're now 6 months later, and we're no closer to getting the resolution that the court offered in April 2016, 6 months ago. So people are going to be tremendously disappointed at this decision. It's done nothing. Their hopes in the law are not encouraged one little bit by these kinds of technical decisions.
The refugee team say the fundamental issue for the human rights claim has not been altered by this decision, and they will continue to seek justice.
The legal issues that were at issue, there is no question. The NAMA decision indicated very clearly that the human rights are being breached on Manus Island, have been breached since people were unlawfully brought here, in 2013. That has not changed.
This time we will include about 1,000 people together in just the one application. And even those that are in overseas, they can still give us instruction and we include them as well.
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Health support workers in Leh are rallying behind staff from other hospitals to support the strike action by PNG Health Support Workers Association for better conditions. Leh Branch President John Theoti says the hospital support staff will back their colleagues until the log of claims are met by the government.
226 health support workers in Engau are supporting their mother organization in Port Moresby and are planning to cast a secret ballot on Monday. The workers are preparing to stage a nationwide strike with the other sister hospitals. They are planning to halt the hospital services until their log of claims are met by the government. Leh Branch President John Theoti says their log of claims, which was put forward to the Department of Personnel Management in September last year, has not been attended to.
Not yet until today. That's why we are into a proposing of a ballot box, secret ballot box, that to cease sitting strike within the centers. But we will take that when we get any feedbacks from our headquarters down in Moresby.
Engau is the second largest referral hospital in the country, where senior professional support staff and locally employed ancillary staff play an important role in supporting the flow of services. The workers want the government to meet their claims and to compensate them for the increased hours of work.
Clinicians do their job, but they don't complete their job, and we are the people that complete their job. And looking at what we are doing and what they are doing, I think we are doing, most of the dirty jobs for hospital. and yet we have not been compensated well.
In order to avoid disruption of hospital services, Health Support Services Union is calling on the government to speed up with processes with the Department of Personnel Management and to fast-track their claims.
We are ready to go on strike just to support and make sure the DPM and the government must see through the importance of us as part of the department, part of the section that in the Department of Health we are doing the same job as our colleagues, nurses and doctors.
Martha Luis, National MTV News, Ley.
UN Women PNG, in partnership with the NCDC, launched the Sun Up One Time campaign in Mosby today. The campaign seeks to make the city a safe place for women and girls by encouraging men and boys to work alongside them as allies in the government's drive to end gender-based violence.
The NCD Governor, Powis Pakop, in his address, condemned the violent behavior and disrespect of men towards women and girls on the streets that continue to threaten their safety.
It's been a big, offense to women and girls because they have been the main victims of violence, fear, and harassment. Our people for a long time, especially women and girls, not allowed to live normal lives. They have to look over their shoulders all the time. They have to worry about the next corner, whether they're going to be safe around the corner or at the markets or in the workplace or going to school or coming back from school.
He commended the UN Women's Initiative and urged men and boys to actively participate in the campaign, a campaign he said was vital because it played a huge role in achieving one of NCD's priorities, making Port Moresby a safer place.
We must end fear, we must end harassment, and we must end violence, and we must embrace peace.
UN Women Country Representative Dr. Jeffrey Butchanan expressed similar sentiments.
Port Moresby is a great city, we have a great leader, we have great people, and together we're going to create a new normal in a behaviour change campaign where men and boys and women and girls work with all of our citizens to make this a really safe city.
Internationally renowned hip-hop artist and now newly appointed youth champion Protégé also challenged men and boys to join the campaign.
I challenge all the men, all the boys out there. We have a responsibility to really step up and to really be the example, be the change that we hope to see in PNG, in our city.
Youth Champion Representative Bronwyn Kelly spoke on behalf of youths in a pledge to work towards achieving the campaign's goals.
We stand together to say that we have a right to a safe public space, to safe public transit, to safe markets, to safe streets, safe buses, and safe places of work.
I support the Sun Up One Time campaign.
Melissa Gaviro, National MTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3155 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3080, $0.4929 Australian dollars, $0.2796 euro, and 32.05 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and coffee closed higher, cocoa closed lower, while copra closed the day unchanged. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 29 points lower, the ASX is trading 11 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading 7 points lower. A boost for the transport sector in the country, more students graduate, and stories making headlines overseas. That's after the break. Welcome back to the news. The fourth Transport Sector Support Program instrument signing today in Port Moresby will boost capacity building within the transport sector. It focuses on improving and maintaining road networks in the country. Present at the event were Department of Works, Civil Aviation Authority, Transport Department and developing partner AUSAID.
This signing is the Department of Works and the Australian Eye Commission long-term arrangement formalizing Australia's technical support to the department through the Transport Sector Support Program called TSSP.
We'll be signing the fourth one since the introduction of this arrangement.
The new arrangement will support the set goal of PNG government and Australia through road infrastructure development.
The signing today is aligned with those key goals that we have in our corporate goal 2015 to 2019. And there are key outcomes we intend to achieve. And important outcome number one is we'd like to see that our national road network that contributes to well-integrated, competitive, safe, affordable and environmentally sustainable transport system.
This is because road plays an important role in improving the lives of the people. Works Minister Francis Awisa says the government focused to work in partnership with developing partners like AUSAID to upgrade missing links in 12 provinces in the country.
There is a reason why we want to call it rehabilitation or an upgrade and seal of existing road. And normally we have to do the four-wheel drive first. And only 16 missing links like we're talking about, there's a big list.
So far, 290 kilometers were rehabilitated and more than 2,800 kilometers maintained in 12 provinces. Australian Eye Commissioner Minister Councillor Benedict David says Australia is proud in its long-term commitment in the transport sector.
And we are pleased to be here to be partners in this transition to PNG's positive future.
Eric Arupma, National MTV News.
Tokarara Secondary School in the nation's capital held its 5th graduation for grade 12 students today. 204 students proudly dressed for the occasion, witnessed by family, friends, staff and students of Tokarara Secondary.
Tokarara Secondary School hosted their 5th grade 12 graduation after 2 weeks of exams. 204 graduands were accompanied by family members with the support of staff, administration and fellow students to receive their certificates, which for some will enable them to continue at a tertiary institution in 2017. In his welcome speech, the principal, Mr. Manga, reiterated the journey of life and how he had hoped going to school at Tokarara had helped them hope for more in the future.
Life is about journeys. Right? You know what a journey is, huh? You start one and you end one, right? Like you're ending one, right? But life is also about many other things. It's about evolving and progressing.
Guest speaker and former principal, who is now Assistant Secretary for Education in NCD, Mr. Sam Laura, emphasized that young people these days have a lot more to live, for as life in the city is challenging.
Discipline is knowing what you want to do, and you set your mind to achieve what you want to do. Self-discipline is important. Many of our young people lack this. They take the world for granted. You discipline yourself, you set your goal, and you work towards achieving that. If you don't, then obviously you'll be floating around aimlessly, thinking something is going to happen in your life. And as parents, we want our children to be independent.
Tokarara Secondary School Science Dux for 2016 was awarded to Ivero Timothy and Dux of Business Studies to Terence Mandolo. ITI has also partnered with Tokarara Secondary School and gave away 2 scholarships to promising students, Lawrence Wesley and Valerie Miana. The event was the first to be hosted in the school itself and had very proud parents, students and teachers in attendance. Daphne Rassahay, National MTV News.
Australia Pacific Technical College hosted its 15th graduation on Wednesday at the APTC Port Moresby campus along Baruni Road. The college graduated 123 students with various technical trade qualifications. Representatives from the government as well as key industry partners along with APTC staff, family and friends of the graduates were in attendance during this ceremony.
Graduating students studied 12 APTC programs. The programs are offered at the PNG campus and in other campuses in Fiji, Samoa and Vanuatu. Among the 123 graduating students, 28 are female, one of whom is a Tongan national. Johnny Loyep, Education Manager from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, while addressing the crowd, highlighted the importance of gender equality in education.
Of these 2,000 plus graduates, around 600 have been women, including 28 graduating today. Over the years, many of these women have taken on the challenge of getting qualified in traditionally male-dominated areas such as carpentry, metal fabrication, and the electrical trades. By participating in such jobs, women are leading the way, bringing economic benefits to their families and contributing to the productivity of this nation.
The Technical College is an innovative development program funded by the Australian government and managed through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. The APTC is committed to delivering internationally recognized Australian qualifications in selected industrial areas.
APTC does not operate in isolation, and we've already heard about the great partnership we have between the PNG government and the Australian government. We have great partners with industries and employers. We are demand driven, and that means we try all the time to create real skills for real jobs right now.
APTC as a whole strives to contribute to a more prosperous Pacific, driven by a skilled, competitive and productive workforce. Lorraine Gabina, National MTV News.
Overseas now into the war in Iraq, the discovery of a massive tunnel network that provides a way for militants to hide among civilians has been discovered. Troops fighting to take back the city of Mosul are now using this tunnel.
It's inside a residential home. All of the rooms have been filmed with the dirt that they dug out from underneath so that no one could see what it was that they were up to. They've dismantled some IEDs, explosives that they found down inside as well. When they came, they saw that this ladder was already in place. They found a couple of drills and wheelbarrows that they've removed. Look at this cable. They were even running electricity down here. This is another of the tires that the counterterrorism soldiers burnt inside this tunnel to try to suffocate any ISIS fighters that may have been inside, and that's why there's this black soot that's covering everything. It's sort of a staircase that they've carved out that goes all the way up to the road. It's pretty narrow and hard to move through here. Oh, yep. This goes all the way up into a hole that opens up onto the street that we were just walking down, and ISIS fighters were able to use this to move up and launch surprise attacks on troops as they were advancing. But he was saying that it also serves as a way to circulate oxygen because this tunnel complex is pretty far underground and it goes off in yet another direction. Wow, they have a fan down here as well. This distance that we just came through underground, had they been able to complete it, this would have opened up on the other side of the main street.
Trukai Sports is next. We will be back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Football Association today announced the national team travelling for a friendly against Malaysia. The match is scheduled for the 14th of November in Kuala Lumpur. Head of delegation Joseph Eladona said coach Fleming Siritzlev has retained the majority of the successful team from the OFC Nations Cup earlier this year in Port Moresby.
The team will fly out of the country on the 7th of November for Malaysia after a week's camp in Port Moresby and another week in Malaysia before the game. They are also awaiting confirmation to play Singapore before the Malaysia game. The Malaysia game is sanctioned as a ranking game by FIFA. Malaysia is seeking to settle their loss to PNG recently, and also we're expecting the Malaysian football supporters to come out to see who we are following our win and our performance at the recent OFC Nations Cup. The coach, as it appears, has picked an attacking side. Eladona said their international players have all been released and thanked the respective clubs for the release. We are on a historic run in the qualifications process towards the FIFA World Cup Russia 2018. And with our ranking climbing up in the FIFA ranking and the FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup in Port Moresby, this is an exciting time for football.
It'll be, we will have the full team. There are a couple of changes in the squad because we also have to be ready to find players outside the squad for the Nations Cup if we have injuries or lack of fitness and so on.
Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
Gold Coast City will be the first ever regional centre in the state of Queensland to host the 2018 Commonwealth Games. To cater for the Games facilities, the Queensland Government has assisted with over $2 million towards the construction of infrastructure. Gold Coast Deputy Mayor Donna Gates said some of the facilities that were built for past international events will again be used in 2018.
Having to host their first Commonwealth event in a regional centre, the city of Gold Coast started their preparations over a year ago after the bidding for the Commonwealth Games was successful. To help the city of Gold Coast host the Commonwealth Games and prepare for the event, the Queensland Government has stepped in to help assist with $2 million for infrastructure development in the city and facilities that will be used by over 6,000 athletes. Deputy City Mayor Donna Gates says the construction phase at each facility is going quickly and should be ready to be tested before the event.
We've had the massive Coomera Sports Centre come online. That's an indoor centre that it's already being used by about 20 different groups, and it will become the home of gymnastics into the future after the Games. We've got construction works happening on this site at Metricon, where the indoor stadium is being built, and a new home for our Gold Coast Suns who actually use these fields. So we're well ahead of time.
While hosting to over 6,000 athletes from around the Commonwealth countries, first aid facilities are already on standby with easy access to where the events will take place. The Games Village will be completed even months before the Games are ready for athletes and coaches to move into. To prepare for the Commonwealth Games in line with the Games facilities, infrastructures including roads are also in construction, as transport is something the Deputy Mayor has stressed upon.
There's many roadworks underway at the moment because we recognise that transport will be difficult during the 11 days of the Games, that we need to encourage the people who live here to get to and from work perhaps differently than they usually do. It will be school holidays, so the traffic on the roads will be reduced, but we're working very hard to make sure that our Games provide the easiest way for people to get to and from all of the different venues.
Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Malaysian Association held its 16th annual charity golf tournament at the Port Moresby Golf Course today. It is one of the biggest non-profit organizations in PNG. 38 registered teams from various business houses took part in the charity event that aims to raise millions for worthy causes.
Tournament organizer and founder Ki Lim said the charity event raises over 500,000 kina to 1 million kina every year to support the needy, and he is confident this year's competition will be no different.
This charity event basically is to help the needy people, those unfortunate ones, mostly those grassroots peoples which are within. Actually, they are, they need a lot of help.
All funds raised will be put towards assisting the charity organizations and the unfortunate or homeless people.
There are many of them actually depend very much on our funding area. So I think this fundraising actually is really very helpful for some of those organizations that we are supporting.
Since the inception of the MBC Charity Golf Tournament in 2001, the organization has seen dramatic improvements to various projects that the association supports through funding and infrastructural development.
Like temporary children's center, if you go there today compared to 5 years ago, you have seen a lot of changes. More infrastructure putting out. And some of those other organizations like Caritas, Nursery, previously they are looking after, the nearby children that didn't attend school. These people now being able to upgrade to even elementary school now, So we can see all this progress actually through all these kind of helps.
Mr. Lim says while the event is an initiative of the Malaysian Association, it is open to other organizations or individuals who want to support a worthy cause.
There shouldn't be any boundary actually for this kind of charity work, which all corporates, I believe, we all have that kind of social responsibility. We make money here, we give away actually for the needy people.
The Golf Challenge ends today and will be followed by the presentation dinner tomorrow night at the Stanley Hotel with prizes, auctions and raffle draws. The proceeds will be earmarked for selected medical institutions and other charity organizations as beneficiaries. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby, fine although cloudy at times. Mostly fine in Daru, Alotau and Popondetta. A shower or two expected in Kerma. To the Momasa region, Leh, fine although cloudy at times, thundery showers in Wau, mostly fine in Madang, a shower or two in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Kokopo, Rabaul, Kavieng and Lorengau, a shower or two in Kimbe, mostly fine in Buka. And finally in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, a shower or two over the next 24 hours.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Before we go, recapping our main stories for tonight. Prime Minister urges the country to pray for Governor General, Grand Chief Sir Michael Ogio. Flooding reports coming in from remote Morabe, and MVIL pays 35.4 million kina to Kumul Consolidated Holdings in dividends. And that has been the news, sports and weather for today, Friday, October the 28th, 2016. On behalf of the MTV News team, have a pleasant weekend. Good night.